Alright guys, I'm back with another video for you today. I'm in Florence for Pitti Fragranze. I'm here with Chloe of Jorum Studio, a brand that I've come to fall in love with, especially for one fragrance that they have called Paradisi, which I speak about quite a bit. But they have a whole catalog of awesome releases, and I've got Chloe, brand founder here, co-founder?
Co-founder,
Yeah.
yes.
So we're going to talk about some of their fragrances, how they got their start, their perfumer, and some of their more popular fragrances. And of course, Paradisi, which is my favorite. But also, look at these bottles. They now have 50 ml bottles in comparison to their OG bottles, original bottles, 30 ml. So Chloe, thanks so much for doing this video with me.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. We tried last year, but unfortunately the video did not turn out. So I wanted to make sure we get this video done. So how are you enjoying Pitti Fragranze this year?
I'm loving it.
Yeah?
It's a good crowd this year. It's very a lot busier than years gone by, but it's got really good energy. It's really well organized, and there's always a great selection of brands, things that you've never tried before, maybe brands that you've been meaning to try. You'll always find them here, so it's a great selection.
Cool. So your booth you're part of a distributor, is that how it is organized here in your section?
Yeah.
So it's a distributor that distributes multiple brands, and you're part of the brands. And so your section of the show this year is so busy with a lot of different brands. So somehow they've added more brands, I guess, to their catalog.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the selection of the brands within the group is they're all very unique, and that's kind of one of the sort of through lines of all of them is we're all very unique and very authentic to what we do as well. Yeah.
Great. So I was in Edinburgh like 3 years ago, and I came to your studio because, I had heard a lot about your brand, and I think at that time ZGO Perfumery might have been carrying your brand already. So I made a point, since wherever I traveled to make sure I check out local perfumeries and things. So it was downpouring. It was so rainy. And I came in and you went through the whole catalog and smelled all of them. There were several that I liked, so I bought a bottle of Paradisi, and it's become my favorite. So tell us a little bit about Paradisi.
Yeah, so Paradisi is what we describe as a high-performing citrus. So we really wanted to have a citrus fragrance in our collection that really stood the test of time, both in terms of its style, so not sort of following any trend, but also that was long-lasting on the skin. Citrus fragrances are notoriously ephemeral, and we wanted to give it a lot of endurance and be able to really withstand high temperatures, high heat, and high humidity. We've really leaned into the humidity with the style of the fragrance itself, so it has this kind of humid quality, as well as some really interesting earthy tones, which really fix to fabric and to skin really nicely, so it will really see you through the whole day as well. My favorite part of it is there's a little hint of sort of tropical florals, which I really love. There's honeysuckle, we've got some passion flower as well, which just give it this like little hint of something that feels almost like an eau de cologne, but then something which is a little more modern than that as well.
So you call it a citrus?
Yeah.
So I think it's grapefruit in there?
Yeah, grapefruit.
That's the note that really stands out for me as far as citrus goes. But for me, it's more like a very lush vegetation, greenery, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, for me, it just seems like there's a lot of like overgrowth of greenery with fruits and flowers.
Yeah.
And the concentration feels like there's a texture about it that's thick and dense, but it's super fresh. So it makes sense you call it a citrus.
Yeah, and we wanted it to feel like when you experience a citrus tree, maybe in a greenhouse, and you're smelling the fruit and the leaves of that tree, but it's also informed by the environment around it. So there's loads of different sort of green textures to it, referencing the plants around the citrus or the grapefruit tree, and then again that humidity of the glass house that kind of just makes everything feel very atmospheric as well.
Yeah, it's such a great fragrance, guys. If you are into fresh fragrances, I find it also tart. I think it's the grapefruit adding that tartness.
Yeah, for sure.
And you said that it was humid, but I also find it to be a great fragrance to wear in humid weather.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it leans into that, so it doesn't fight it, which I think is very important when you're looking for a fragrance that is lifestyle suitable, I suppose.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your perfumer. How is the perfumer? What's his name?
Euan.
Euan.
Our perfumer is Euan McCall. He's our co-founder. The brand is very much perfumer-led. I think you can really kind of tell that within the fragrances themselves. They're very boundary pushing, but also very true to classical foundations, as well as very much highlighting the quality of materials. So Euan started very young. He knew he wanted to be a perfumer from childhood, despite being in the Scottish countryside where perfumery was not an industry that he was surrounded by.
Makes sense.
His parents were horticulturalists, so he grew up around plants. They really taught him a lot about botany and lots of different references of Scottish botanicals, but then they would also take him to the south of France where he experienced that world of perfumery, and those two experiences kind of informed how he wanted to go through his training as a perfumer. So he went a more traditional route. He did a lot of apprenticeships and studying under different master perfumers, and then did a lot of self-directed study as well. So he's really pulled those two worlds together. He firmly believes you've got to know the rules to break them. So that's kind of what he does with all of the creations that he puts out.
Great. So does he only do fragrances for your brand, or does he do it?
Predominantly for the in-house brand. However, he does do fragrance development for other brands as well.
Okay.
A few that are at Pitti as well. So it's a nice crowd.
I'm going to have to go check those out. So tell us why you decided to do 50 ml bottles now.
So,
is there a demand for them?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Pretty much, yeah. So I think the 30 ml is very much, our tried and true size, and I think it always will be. It really encourages experimentation, play. You can, switch things up once you're finished with the bottle. Maybe you want to try a different scent. But we also have a lot of requests for a bigger bottle of maybe a signature scent that someone might have. So we wanted to be able to cater to that as well. So it really allows you to, if you're, a die-hard Paradisi fan, you've got a bigger bottle. You don't have to buy a lot.
All right, so tell us a little bit more about some of your other fragrances. I see, is this Pony Boy?
Yes, this one's Pony Boy.
I don't know much about Pony Boy.
Yeah, Pony Boy has been a surprising success, I would say. We thought it was quite risky at the time to put out a rhubarb forward fragrance. At the time there wasn't that many out there, and we really wanted to have a rhubarb fragrance that felt more of a specific reference to our Scottish heritage. So it's something that's grown in abundance in the countryside, usually by sort of lochs and dense water-heavy areas. And that really links with the concept of the fragrance itself. So Pony Boy is a reference to the Scottish folklore of the Kelpie, which is a mythical water horse creature, half man, half human. And it's usually a story that's told to children to keep them out of water, to stop them drowning. And we wanted to flip that on its head and give it a positive, kind of fun, playful, flirty vibe, and also a more modern twist as well. So it's a lot of rhubarb, vetiver. We've still got some grapefruit in there as well, which gives that little kick at the top. And then some really interesting elements with coriander seed and beetroot as well, which really ground it.
Can we smell Pony Boy?
Yeah, of course.
Because I'm not too familiar with it, but we don't have to smell Paradisi because I'm all over that fragrance. Is it so? You have rhubarb here. Is it fruity then?
Yeah, it has this interesting fruity kind of sparkling opening, which is really kind of elevated with pink lotus and champaca, which just give it this almost like a champagne kind of.
Yeah, it's quite fizzy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, and on the dry down, it becomes a little bit more green, a little bit more earthy, grassy as well, which just again kind of just tempers the flirtiness in the top.
Wow, I didn't realize this was so good. Maybe it smells better also in the weather here, that it's quite humid today.
Yeah, and I think if you're in a particular mood, it kind of amplifies it.
That's gorgeous. I'm gonna have to check that one out. Does it end up going cannabis-like at all?
Not particularly, no. I would say Gorsland, which is another one of our fragrances, that can go a little bit more cannabis, whereas this stays true to a little sort of vetiver grassiness.
And am I supposed to get rose? Do I get rose?
There is an element which feels like a peony, but there's no peony or rose in the fragrance itself. It's just kind of almost like those coincidental combinations of notes.
So it's a magic rose.
Yeah.
All right, so what else should we smell?
I think an interesting one could be Unspoken Gesture.
Okay.
Which is really nice skin scent, but skin scent as we do it, so it's not by halves, as it were. This is centered around rice and mimosa.
Rice and mimosa, so it's powdery.
It has this sort of coated powdery element to it. Lots of hazelnut, fig as well.
Wow, yeah.
And then a beautiful ombre seed, which again kind of just amplifies that kind of fluffy, soft quality as well.
So this is one of your latest releases.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like this. I love skin scents. I mean, I love big fragrances,
Mhm.
but the total opposite of those kind of fragrances
Yeah.
are the skin scents
Yeah.
that I really enjoy. And it's powdery. It's got this kind of a white cloud-like smell to it.
Yeah.
A little bit like fog, cool, crisp.
Exactly. Yeah. We wanted it to feel enveloping, and this sense of, it's not a romantic scent. It still has like this loving vibe to it, but it's more like familial love, like a mother's love kind of sense of comfort. But it's also very addictive.
Yeah.
You find yourself wanting to go back to it a lot. And it's, again, incredibly long lasting. You can, after maybe 6 hours, you'll get a big hit of it again, and it smells as if you've just sprayed it. That's
great. Yeah, that's actually quite good. It's got a slight nuttiness and also the greenness. There's a slight greenness from the fig.
Some cardamom as well.
Yeah, gorgeous. Okay, so we did Unknown Gestures. Now you have a limited edition. Tell us a little bit about this one.
So Pluck is our summer limited release. So it's part of the Time collection. Every season we'll release an archival fragrance. So it's a fragrance our perfumer has been working on for many years. Almost like a time capsule. It's something that he will put away, and then when the time feels right, he'll get the formula out again and maybe rework it. And we really like this idea within the collection of revisiting a fragrance with newly informed experiences.
Oh, wow.
So it becomes a layer of lots of different experiences that have happened throughout his life. Pluck in particular was inspired by, very aptly, as we're in Italy, a trip to Italy, where he discovered his favourite meal, which is panzanella, beautiful tomato salad.
Oh, wow.
And he's obsessed with tomatoes, so it's kind of the through line with Paradisi as well. It has that kind of tomato
okay.
vibe.
I'm curious.
Yeah. And it's surprisingly different to Paradisi. It still has that hint of greenness, but it's more tomato fruit and tomato tar, so the sort of stickiness that ends up on your hands after you've been plucking tomatoes.
Okay.
Then we've got some pine, sandalwood as well, which gives it that beautiful softness.
Tomato leaves are kind of become trendy. I've seen a lot of tomato leaf fragrances pop up lately. And this is totally different than Paradisi. It's green, but the pine also adds this kind of a cool, almost menthol-like touch against the bitterness of the tomato leaves. Wow. So this is limited edition. It runs out and then you're done with this fragrance?
Most likely, yes. Yeah.
So do once fragrances run out, like these limited editions, do you bring them back?
We try not to.
Oh, okay.
We do have a limited release fragrance from autumn called Boswellia Scotia, which was very, very popular. And we've had so much demand for that to come back that we've been working on that for the past year to make sure we get a consistent supply of raw materials for that particular fragrance. So that will be reintroduced as a permanent fixture. But we try to say once it's gone, it's gone.
Okay.
So that it has that special kind of quality to it as well.
Awesome. So then what else shall we try?
Let's try, this is one of our original fragrances from 2019 called Trimerous.
Okay.
And this is still to this day our most popular. It's comparative to our other fragrances, a softer fragrance.
Ooh.
Very orris heavy. It's a celebration of orris in all forms, and we've really tried to highlight 3 different facets of orris butter. So there's like this buttery quality, there's also something a little cooled, and then something a little woody, sort of sylvan as well, which gives it this really almost interesting autumnal vibe to me. It has like a sense of a cool breeze to it, which I love.
Is there like eucalyptus, something menthol like it? Thyme, okay.
Yeah, and then a hint of pink pepper as well, which again just gives it this little sparkle of something. And then we've got lots of sandalwood and vanilla in the base, just to give it a sense of depth.
Yeah, I might have smelled this when I came to your store.
Yeah.
But it was so cold, it didn't resonate with me.
Yeah, very true. Yeah.
But it's smelling great today. I like that coolness, like behind all that autumnal, there's this like menthol coolness.
Yeah. And it's just so effortless, I think. It works for, if you're in a work situation or it's a special occasion, it still kind of feels very versatile to that. And I think, especially as an introduction to the brand and maybe even an introduction to niche fragrance, it feels like an easier step than going sort of full throttle challenging fragrance.
Lovely. So yeah, this is orris So is that like a prominent note in this, the
Yeah.
orris?
Yeah.
It doesn't smell like everybody else's orris fragrance. So that's kind of original and cool about it. Awesome. And I think we have one more, right?
Yes, which is another Sebastian favorite.
Yeah, I love this. This is probably my second favorite. But now I've smelled a few others that I really like the smell of.
And we wouldn't be a Scottish brand if we didn't reference whiskey.
Oh, yeah.
So this is our take on a whiskey fragrance. You almost imagine sticking your head in an empty whiskey barrel and the vapors are still kind of swirling around. This is the kind of sensation we were going for. We wanted it to feel like whiskey, but almost more of the character of the wood of the barrel, as well as the sort of residual flavors that you get. Yeah.
So good. What's the butteriness that I get from this? It's got a creamy, buttery texture.
There's lots of woods in the base. We
Maybe
have a lot of
sandalwood?
Oakwood.
Oakwood.
Yeah. A lot of clear wood as well, which is a little bit more on the sort of earthy side. But the two combined give it that sort of beautiful kind of woody coatedness.
Wow. That's quite lovely. I love it. That's my second favorite, obviously. And I've featured it in some boozy fragrance videos. If you like boozy, I think you definitely need to try this one. I love it. It's got this cozy vibe and a realistic barrel, like the oak barrel smell to it.
Yeah, and we wanted it to feel, because it has a lot of vanilla absolute, which is, quite dense. And we wanted it to feel quite ethereal. So it's not a vanilla that's really cakey or sort of very heavy. It is intended to have a lightness to it, which I think is quite refreshing for that kind of style of fragrance.
Are there any fruits also?
Yes, we've got pear.
Pear, okay.
Which gives it that sort of opening of, so within whiskey there's a reference to something called new make spirit, which is like that rush of alcohol. You get it sometimes with fragrance as well, actually. But that new make is something which, it's almost like the first drop of a roller coaster. It's like the excitement when you first smell a whiskey. So we wanted to have that sort of reference to it in there, but not something that's going to dominate or linger too long. Much like new make itself, it will evaporate very quickly. So we wanted it to have that sort of same character.
It's gorgeous. Yeah, I think I can also see some grappa-like qualities in here because of the pear.
Yeah.
Are there any ambrette?
Yes.
There is ambrette. Okay.
Yeah.
Usually ambrette has pear boozy qualities, right? Yeah. Okay. That's really beautiful. It's definitely a favorite of mine. So good. I think it's perfect for the autumn.
Yeah, and it works beautifully on fabrics as well. Notoriously, as we're from Scotland, we're going to reference things, but wool and tweed, it just fixes to them beautifully. It's a great fragrance.
Wow. Great. What else?
And we also have Carduus, which I also love to wear in the autumn on...
Carduus.
Yes, or Carduus.
Carduus.
Again, works very well on wools, heavy fabrics. Again, has a hint of a booziness. There is like almost rum-like quality to it.
It's a bit fiery.
Yeah, so we've got a hint of clove, which gives it that sort of licorice kind of fiery spike. Lots of Bengal pepper, clary sage, cedarwood, some cocoa absolute, hint of sort of chocolate sweetness in the base.
Okay. And this is boozy, but totally different.
Yeah.
My preference is Spiritcask over this.
Yeah.
There's a peppery quality, like hot, spicy peppers.
And like this sort of steeped tea kind of coziness.
Very interesting. I could get used to this one. It's got a holiday spicy kind of effect to it, yeah.
When we were first developing this fragrance, I absolutely hated it. I'd never tried a fragrance like it, and my brain couldn't compute. And now I think for that reason, it is, affectionately one of my favorites, because it felt as if I had to earn the knowledge to understand it. And now that I do, I feel as if it's, a job well earned.
All right, let's smell one more, and then we'll wrap up.
Yeah.
We have Firewater.
Yeah. So again, true to our Scottish roots, this is a kind of whiskey forward fragrance, but in a very different way. This is actually referencing more a place. So this is very much inspired by Islay, where a lot of whiskies are made.
I'm smelling it already.
Yeah. So Islay is it's famous for smoky whiskies, peaty whiskies. So we wanted to have that peat reference in here. But it's also, because it's an island, it's surrounded by water, and it's a pretty treacherous sea. So we wanted to have this feeling of intense waves and a slight sort of mineral kind of quality. We've got some sugar kelp in here, which references the sort of coastline. Pick of ginger.
I can pick that up right now. There's a marine effect happening here.
Yeah, exactly.
Seaweedy.
So again, it's about imagining a whiskey fragrance, but with something that feels very sort of place specific. so we've chosen Isla for that, and lots of different sort of spicy elements. There's almost like this hint of a beach bonfire with lavender, some birch as well.
This is not my favorite. I don't like
thought it
marine.
would be a challenge.
I mean, yeah, I think the seaweedy effect is pretty, like it's hidden pretty much, but it pops out.
Once you know it's there, it's there. Yeah. On my skin, it becomes very, very green, which I think is super interesting.
Where?
Yeah,
Wow.
it becomes more ginger, which ginger goes quite green on my skin. So I really like that kind of surprise. And I think especially we had another limited release called Monolith, which was very, very dense peaty fragrance, and it was solely focused on that.
Oh, wow.
And I used to layer them, which is, it was quite a bold decision. But when I'm feeling in that mood, it's a great combo because it has that kind of like intensity that sometimes you're looking for in a fragrance, especially if you're going for dinner or a moody bar. Kind of has that nice calm vibe to it.
Great. Firewater. I love the name though.
Yeah. Fire and water.
It definitely has a fire and water effect, but fire and seawater effect.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, great. What should we look forward to in the future? You now have 50 ml bottles.
Yeah.
That's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
So anybody that's looking for larger Jorums, is it all fragrances will have 50?
All fragrances, with the exception of the limited release. So the time collection will still be in the 30s.
Okay.
Just so we can have as many people get it in their hands as possible.
I see.
Such a small batch.
Yeah, makes sense. But what should we look forward in the future? Any new surprise fragrances launches?
So we have Boswellia Scotia will be re-released, so that will be very soon. Then we'll also have a few additions to some of our other collections, I think are in the mix. And then next year we will have a brand new collection.
Oh.
So a completely new concept that we've been working on for a long time. It's very much a labour of love, and we want to make sure that we get all the fragrances right, and that we get the sort of timing of it right as well. So we're very excited to be able to share more with that as it develops as well.
Great. Thanks so much for doing this video a second time. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in today to watch this video with Chloe of Jorum Studio. Let us know if you have any questions, and let us know what are your favorite fragrances from the house. If you don't know the house and anything sounded great to you, add a comment and let us know which it was. Thanks so much for watching. Please like this video, share it, and make sure not to forget to subscribe. Have a good one. Bye-bye.